Even today, Michael Jackson's iconic style is an inspiration for celebrities and the world alike, all of which is testament to his enduring cultural influence years after his death. And yet, there has been very little discussion on what influenced the man himself. At the risk of stating the obvious, none of us live in a vacuum, not even the rich and famous. So keep watching to find out the idol's own historical references, which he so successfully interpreted and appropriated that most people see him as the original trendsetter. Classic movies and musicals. When Michael Jackson made his movie debut at age 20 as the Scarecrow in The Wiz, the retelling of the classic The Wizard of Oz, it introduced him to the wonderful world of classic movies, and it is easy to see how those suave, glittery MGM musicals manifested themselves both in Jackson's dancing and his wardrobe. Michael's signature ankle-bearing pants paired with penny loafers and white socks highlighted his dance moves, but they also bear telling resemblance to a famous song and dance movie star, Gene Kelly, whose pared-down and classic styling was a consistent inspiration for the artist. Jackson regularly sported white suits, just see the Thriller album cover for a casual, pared-down version, that also bear uncanny resemblance to the ensemble Fred Astaire wears in The Bandwagon. For those unfamiliar with this mediocre musical, the Girl Hunt Ballet dance number is a musical within a musical where Astaire and Charisse enact a 40s film noir-style murder mystery. And here's Michael's Smooth Criminal video, where you can clearly see Astaire's influence on the King of Pop. The iconic 1961 film West Side Story was undoubtedly another musical that influenced both the Beat It and Bad videos, down to the line dance choreography style. Jackson's videos have only slightly less dubiously threatening song and dance gang confrontations. Bad even mimics the set of West Side Story's Cool number, which also occurs in a concrete garage-like setting. Royalty and military. In conjunction to Jackson's homage to past acrobatic performers was Jackson's royal persona. His astounding collection of military jackets are protective in their stiffness and project masculine power with their broad shoulders and suggestion of violent battle. They are also commonly worn by male monarchs, who typically rely on medals rather than Jackson's rhinestones for bling. Jackson was dubbed the King of Pop because of his extraordinary talent, but he shared other, less desirable similarities with kings. Like any monarch, his movement was confined to his personal properties and heavily guarded mob public appearances, which was undoubtedly trying. And since he achieved such fame at such a young age, like any prince or king, he had virtually no opportunity for normal geographic exploration, embracing this gift or curse through his royal military ensembles. Some of Jackson's military jackets were rather conservative, but many more were colorful, glitzy, and laden with sparkles. It's no coincidence that Jackson was a huge admirer of earlier pop royalty The Beatles, whose influential album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band portrayed the Beatles in psychedelic 60s military gear, which Jackson emulated as well. There was also a healthy dose of inspiration evident in Jackson from other pop music icons, Elvis for his gear-rating crotch moves, as well as the undeniable live concert showman James Brown, who was explicitly credited by Michael as being hugely influential. They shared a talent for energetic performances, impressive tonal ranges, and love of shiny jackets and straightened hairstyles. The Dark Misfit. Even though we have concentrated on Michael's fondness for glitzy musicals and regal personas, there are most definitely darker influences as well. His leather and buckle style emerged perhaps as Michael struggled with his life of imposed near solitude and the battle for privacy he fought from the media and crazed fans. He seemed to identify with, and then project, a kind of misunderstood misfit persona, even while continuing grueling tours and recording sessions, in which he needed to adorn armor for the stage and public, signifying him feeling shackled to his work and his notoriety. It turns out that Jackson had aggressively lobbied for title part in Tim Burton's movie, Edward Scissorhands, which would make perfect sense, as he was dressing like Edward Scissorhands before the movie was even made, with his limp black hair and ladders of leather straps and buckles. His preference for these leather buckles was perhaps indicative of deeper, darker insecurities, desire for restraint in others, or to be restrained oneself. They call to mind mental patience's restraints and also S&M gear, as was fitting for a man whose mental stability and sexuality were examined and questioned throughout his career. Gender and sexuality. As many rock stars do, Jackson walked a tightrope between hypermasculinity and femininity. He never shied from gender ambiguity. On the contrary, he seemed to revel in it. His willowy body, straightened, flowing locks, lack of visible body or facial hair, permanent eyeliner and lipstick, and surgically enhanced jawline all contradicted his signature performative crotch grabs and pelvic thrusts. The bodysuits of the 1990s were generally worn by women and then underneath pants. Jackson's bodysuits worn over his pants served as inner as outwear, much like how Madonna wore Gaultier's external corsets and bodysuits during her 1990 Blonde Ambition tour. Though they were a female fashion, Jackson actually uses them to emphasize his crotch, which Madonna did as well, both confusing gender lines and emphasizing male ones. In the Scream video, Michael and sister Janet are dressed in identical outfits that are clearly designed to blur dissimilarities between the siblings, not least of which being their respective genders. The 1991 song In the Closet was delightfully questionable in its meaning, possibly referring to unwanted media attention he was all too often subjected to, or to his ambiguous sexuality. Many of Michael Jackson's fashions caught on, but many more were just so outrageous that they died with the man. One of the amazing aspects of Jackson's style, and this is a typical marker of a fashion icon, is that no matter how outrageous he looked throughout his life, he was consistent in the visual motifs with which he decorated himself, ultimately lending an agelessness to the man. May we all leave such a legacy, fashion, musical, or otherwise. Tune into one of our latest videos right here, and also check out our online store for our latest icon-inspired styles. Thanks for watching The Detail. We'll see you next time.